wanted to do a video, guys, from a very odd chapter in the book today called World Relations. And, I watched in college all the videos. Some that don't understand would call them conspiracy theories, when I was in college. And I believed and I understood to some degree about the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. And at the time, I understood how our higher faculties work: imagination, perception, intuition, will, memory, and reason, or common sense, or thinking. And I understood how the subconscious mind worked, and I understood how energy and the universe and spirituality worked to some degree. I'd been studying it, what would be equivalent to a 4-year degree at the time. But it was not until I actually moved to Mexico and I actually got to experience firsthand what it was really like in person, and then come back to the United States, and that was when I turned on the media that's owned by one family. Did I really start to believe and actually understand these theories that then became truth? And I realized they were telling the truth. And then when I continued my studies to what would be, a master's or a doctorate in quantum physics, psychology, and the science of life that Albert Einstein studied, if not more time beyond that, actually, a master's or a doctorate, and actually applied it, got a job, or applied it in my life, did I really start to understand what was going on? And I talk about it in my video on world relations, how the subconscious mind works, and how energy works, and how the mind works. So I'm not going to go into depth. But Bitcoin, I bought my first Bitcoin a long time ago from some shady guy named Morpheus, who had two sunglasses on, or one pair of sunglasses on, that were literally just like the Matrix. And I bought my first Bitcoin for $230 something. And I would buy and sell. I never held on to any, really, and then eventually I let it go. But this was before it went all the way up to $20,000. And Bitcoin, when Bitcoin first came out, it was not a threat to centralized banking, right? It was not a threat to the one family that owns all of the banks. But when it got to $20,000 a Bitcoin, and it was breaking out, and investors and Wall Street people were starting to put billions of dollars in, it was hilarious. I talk about this with my camera guy, Paul. It was hilarious to sit there and watch the oil tycoons that were afraid, they were shitting their pants, come out on the mainstream media that they own and start to decredit Bitcoin. Big banking hedge fund owners, not even the teleprompters that they're paying, they went out themselves and start to decredit Bitcoin because they were about to lose all of their financial power. And then all these other cryptocurrencies come out with the same focus, which this Morpheus guy with these sunglasses preached about. That the whole philosophy behind these cryptocurrencies is that you cannot be traced by the government. Because I remember I talk about it in the Book of Life when I was working, 30-something jobs back, my first job at an Albertsons. One of my coworkers, his dad had the police and, the police and the Secret Service show up at his house for a bunch of, $100 that they had been tracing. And he had no idea what the fuck was going on. But he had been traced that easily. This is how easy they can trace cash. And your debit cards and credit cards are, oh my god. And this was the whole idea of cryptocurrency, right? Was to make something that was decentralized. They could not follow and track you like a bunch of creepy people. A lot of people say, well, I have nothing to hide. What's the problem? It's still the same idea of freedom versus control. The whole idea of freedom, that people cannot track your finances. And then the second point that a lot of people believe in is taking away that power that's owned and controlled by that one family that we mentioned that owns all of the banks, that has no checks and balances, right? They're taking away power from them. And this was the whole idea of cryptocurrency, right? Decentralized banking. And when the Bitcoin crashed, there were several other cryptos that came up. And Mark Zuckerberg right now, who I talk about in my other videos, who even though, he donated 99.9% of his financial funds, he's still the most powerful person on the planet right now. That's, fighting back against this one family we talk about that owns all of the media, that, sent 50,000 troops to the Middle East for oil money, made an entire airplane full of children disappear, and you want to trust everything they put on the media or their paid politicians tell you. But this is what Mark Zuckerberg's doing right now. He's creating Libra. And what is Libra? Libra is the same exact thing, but Mark Zuckerberg is kind of playing in the middle, where he's working with the banks, but he's also making the cryptocurrency people happy too. And it's really a genius idea. But what's happening right now? Congress, the banks, are fighting back. Congress right now and Mark Zuckerberg are going at it, and they're trying to shut him down right now. Because what did we say? The same family that owns the bank owns all of the politicians, the House, the Senate, the parliaments. So they're trying to shut Mark down right now. But he's fighting back, and they're still going to make it happen one way or another. And this is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in a gist. And I don't like to do predictions. I don't like to do predictions, but if I were to correspond with the vibrational love and infinite life that is always expanding, right? If you look at a stock market graph, it represents the 12 laws of the universe perfectly, right? It's going up and down, but overall it's going up. And this is how life has progressed over the thousands of years. We're at a point right now where we're at near perfection. We have hundreds of millions of people listening to the love frequencies every day. We have people that are awakening and have more access to self-help and counseling and truthful advice about the mind than ever before. Some of the most powerful people, their knowledge is being shared with the masses. And despite what the media wants to portray, there's more people interested on Facebook in love and peace and forgiveness than there are that follow all of the mainstream outlets now. You don't even want to know how many people watch YouTube every day now compared to, it crushes cable TV. Cable and TV can't even scratch the ankles of YouTube. And this is where we're at now. We're almost at perfection. What's going to be around the corner? So I truly believe to get to this perfection that yes, cryptocurrency is going to rise. And there's going to be a lot of ignorance, aka fear, so that's why I'm making this video. And it's not changing anything besides taking away the power from centralized banking. And it's making it untraceable. It's giving you more freedom, more privacy. Which is exactly what Mark Zuckerberg did with WhatsApp. He made it to where no message can be decryptable. Even if it's a crime-related crime, Mark Zuckerberg says no. Because the moment we can decrypt those messages for crimes, and people can abuse that power like the government does with the cell phones, they can abuse WhatsApp's messages. If we just decrypt one message for a crime, then guess what? People are going to come in and abuse that power. So instead, let the universe take its course. There was a reason why Mark Zuckerberg went to India on a spiritual retreat that Steve Jobs begged him to go to, that all of the other most powerful corporate CEOs and creators went to in India. He understands how the universe works. Yes, some crimes may go unsolvable, but in the end, good is going to win. In the end, love is going to prevail. And and that means, even if some do go unsolvable, everybody else has their privacy and their security, and in the end, those crimes will be solved in the name of justice. It's very wise what he's doing, and there's a reason why Mark's pushing for Libra right now. There's a reason why he has 5 or 6 bodyguards around him all the time, more than probably the president does a lot of times. And this is what cryptocurrency is, guys, in a nutshell. It's really not complicated, but, once again, I'm portraying the much bigger picture here that's going on, for people can see the bigger picture. People can see both sides that are fighting and butting heads right now, because there's always good and evil in life. And people are starting to wake up to where the evil really is and where the good really is. And this is exactly what we have going on right now with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And it's through understanding what is love versus ignorance and fear that people can actually start to understand what is going on here, the bigger picture. So I wish you guys all a good day, the very best in your journeys.